yo, this is your boy DD from the closet. I'm the DM in the closet. Look at me. I'm in a closet. Oh, Lord, I need to get better lighting in the closet. Maybe I'll get some better lighting in my new closet whenever that happens. Cool. So today I want to talk about my thoughts on Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. I got it in the flesh. I took some time reading through it. I didn't drop the video the second I got it, because there's some good stuff to digest. Took a lot of notes, and I'm going to share them with you. Just think, if you want to just shut off the video right now, go ahead and buy it. It's pretty cool. Today I'm drinking something really bizarre. This is orange wine. This is a Riesling that has been rested with its husks, the grape skins, for a little bit, which turns the wine this orangey color. And it's not bad. It's very yeasty. It's very, it's something. At least it's cold. That's like, orange wine. Not worth it. I didn't buy it. Someone just gave it to me. Don't worry. Another wine from Canada. Can you believe it? All right. So let's talk about Tasha and her Cauldron of Everything. Is that in the shot? I don't even know what's in the shot. Don't know what's focusing in the shot either. High tech here. Chapter 1. Chapter 1, we get into our subclasses. So fun to get in your subclasses. Like, oh, my subs. Well, I love my subs. $5 foot longs. So the first, and it goes in alphabetical order, but the first one is actually the biggest pay section, I guess, is the Artificer. Now we have 4 kinds of Artificers that they have, and I think they all get their specialty at level 3, like most classes. So we got our Alchemist, we got the Armor, we got the Artillerist. I need to look up to see if that's actually a word or they just make up that Artillerist. And then a Battlesmith. Cool. So we have some general stuff. So we have our Tinkering at level 1. You could do weird crap to objects, and I guess it's useful. A lot of what the Artificer does feels more like an RP kind of thing. So it's like, I did some tinkering onto this pencil, and now it smiles at you when I write with it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, orange wine. But yeah, get Tinkering at level 1, and it's about as, it's got some cool things. You can put visual effect. It's basically like minor image or illusion, or whatever the crap the spell is. You could do audio, visual, or smell, and you can imbue that onto a mundane object. And yeah, so you could have a pencil that farts at you or something like that, and isn't that great? So it's a lot of more RP, I think, actual usage. You get also to use tools to cast magic. And this is just how they cast magic. So, I got my hammer and I'm doing something real quick on fly to cast this spell. That's total RP. That's just kind of a weird way of getting to the same result. We have to prepare our spells. Infusions at level 2. So this is when you can make kind of magic items. They have a whole list of infusions in here. You can look at them when you buy the book. I don't get anything if you buy it, but it's a nice book. Tasha tells you everything in here. She's got her cauldron and she's put everything in it for you. So help Tasha out, won't you? I like how mundane her name is Tasha. Like Jimmy's Cauldron of Everything. I guess Tasha's a little more flavorful than Jimmy. Okay, the 3rd level specialist. So kind of, and then we have different things as you level up. At level 11, you get spell storing and items. That's kind of cool. And let's see. So first, our Alchemist. They could do things like experimental elixir, which basically you roll a d6 and you can concoct something, and it has one of 6 kind of from crappy to fairly decent effects, some health, some just RP stuff like, oh, it grows a beard or something like that. So it ranges the spectrum, nothing too drastic. It's kind of like I need health quick. This is a Hail Mary. I'm going to make up something. I wrote them all down. Healing, swiftness, resilience, boldness, flight, and transfiguration. Yeah, so the alchemists, they do all the things you would expect them to do. They mix stuff up. I was actually kind of disappointed in what they could do. It was like, okay, let's see, level 15, Chemical Mastery. You gain resistance to acid damage and poison damage and are immune to being poisoned. Okay, you can cast Greater Restoration and heal without expending a spell slot, without preparing the spell, without material components, provided you use alchemist supplies as spellcasting focus. Okay, I guess that's decent. It seems more like a support role, mixing up stuff for people to use. It doesn't really seem like it's meant to be like, ooh, I'm the Mad Bomber of Bomberville. Okay, so that was Alchemist. I was a little underwhelmed by the Alchemist, but I think there's some good RP moments there. Honestly, it's a class where you have to RP it in order for any of what you're doing to come across, because it's just like, you have to describe, you mixing the potions, you're like on the fly, you're like kneeling down the battlefield, got your test tube, and you're like, some of this and some of that, and boom, I win. I feel like it's a heavy RP thing. Okay, so moving on past the Alchemist to the Armorer. Basically, they make iron. It's Iron Man. They have armor and they store spells in it, and they actually get like permanent spells. It's decent. So they have the arcane armor. You see, they're like Iron Man basically. I'm gonna leave this. Hopefully, this focuses in. So you see, they got like thunder in their gauntlets, and they got some dampening field. You advantage on dexterity. You have an advantage on dexterity checks. If the armor normally imposes disadvantage on such checks, the advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out as norm. Okay, so you can yeah. So there's some other stuff there. This one seemed a little underwhelming too, but I guess it's also RP. Let's see, what's our 50? You have to get that like 15th level to get anything good. Guardian, when a huge or smaller creature you can see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to magically force the creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC, pulling the creature up to 30 feet towards you in an unoccupied space. Sure, okay, sure. All right, and then we get to the kind of more fun Artificer. We got our Artillerist. They may have made that word up. The jury is out. Not really. I'm sure someone could find out in 2 seconds if that's a word. One thing I will note, reading through this, I feel like this didn't have a lot of time in the editor's room, if you will. I feel like some things were rushed. A few typos I saw. But yeah, I mean, when you're putting everything in your cauldron, you're going to get some mistakes. So the Artillerist, the Eldritch Cannons. You have these cannons that they do stuff. So you can have a flamethrower, force ballista, or protector. So here's this guy. He's happy with his little dragon thingamajig. It's like the Mulan dragon thing. So we can either do defensive or offensive. This one I feel has got a little more oomph. If you want a damage dealing kind of guy. This also kind of delves into firearms. So if you're not comfortable with firearms, it does kind of give you a way out. So like they have the arcane firearm, and it's basically you have a wand. You put sigils in like a wand, a rod, a staff, or something, and you kind of use that as a gun. You can use guns as well. It depends on how you feel about the guns in your D&D world. And they even say that as like, if you want guns in there, you don't have to do this. So there's different ways to RP that. They also have some cool thing like fortified position. You can have like 2 cannons, and like you basically set up an artillery battery, and that was pretty neat. And that's level 15. Then we have the Battlesmith, the last one. He also has given spells. He's basically your tinkerer on the battlefield. He has a guardian protector, like some mechanical being that protects him on the battlefield, and he's going around the steel defender. That's what it's called. And let me just I'll show you a picture. This is probably not, I have no idea how much in focus these get. But here's a little gnome with a hammer pick thing and goggles and purple hair. He's got a bear with purple hair. He has the hair, not the bear. So yeah, they can use intelligence in lieu of dex or strength for attack and damage. I don't know what level that's at. I forget. But they have some neat things. I feel like the last two, the Artillerist and the Battlesmith, have the most bang for buck, if you will. Now moving out of the Artificer and taking another unrefreshing. I'm just gonna dump this bottle. That was. Thank you for giving it to me, but anyway, the Barbarian. So they basically made the Barbarian magic. And that's basically what they did with all of, it's just like, how do we make the martial classes magical? This is how they do it. So the Barbarian, they have 2 new paths. The Path of the Beast, where you basically transform. It's wild shape, basically. And then you have the Path of Wild Magic, where you tap into wild magic. So you go into Rage, and then you roll on the wild magic effects table. So yeah, there's some stuff that's cool, like they allow you to move half your move speed going into a rage before you actually move. Some stuff like that. I wasn't really impressed by it. It was, like I said, I think this book feels rushed. It's funny, at the beginning, I'm like, get it, and I'm like kind of crapping on it. It gets better. But yeah, so the Barbarian I wasn't too impressed with. The Bard, we have 2 colleges, the College of Creation and the College of Eloquence. So the College of Creation, kind of taps into this. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was whatever, Word was God, or so it's the College of Creation. It's all about the song of creation. So this kind of the Word being able to create. So it basically allows you to animate objects. So there's a lot of overlap, I think, in all these subclasses in this book. So that's the College of Creation. There's some other stuff to it. College of Eloquence, the other one, that's basically oratory. You get to say how much you love stuff, and I'm an orator. Do you know how to orate? I know how to orate. That's not how you pronounce it, but I just said that. Right. Anyway, so that was the Bard. Interesting subclasses. Not the most inspired, but interesting. Cleric. The Cleric. We're harnessing our divine power. We have basically smites, blessed strikes. We got 3 new domains that are actually kind of neat. Domain of Order. So we have, it's basically your Paladin, Cleric. Lawful, divine strike, basically. Sheriff, you maintain order. You're the sheriff. You're a paladin, without maybe the strict stick up your ass or something like that. Then we have the Peace domain, and this is all about. I wrote bonding, and protection. So a little more of a support role. And then we have the Twilight Domain, which is an interesting name. I kind of see where they were going. It's kind of like the last bastion against the dark. So I wrote against the darkness. That's kind of where we are. And they do stuff, like we say, oh, no darkness here, please, please, no. Let me just read some. Eyes of the night, you can see in the deepest, darkest gloom. Steps of the night, you can draw a mystical power of the night to raise into the air. Yeah, they have a lot of perks like across these subclasses that just allow you to fly. And I'm like, okay. So it's just like they're sitting in the boardroom. It's like, okay, what are we putting in these subclasses? Maybe he can fly. Maybe they can fly. We got the last subclass. They flew, and they're like, well, maybe they can fly because of a different reason. It's like, okay, I think we could work with this. Yeah, so that was the clerics. The druid, we have the different circles. We have the circle of spores, the circle of stars, and the circle of wildfire. And all she called wildfire. Spores, the mushroom king. And they're okay with undeath as long as it's balanced and not trying to take over the world. So it's kind of this weird new world we're in. So they, they're okay with undeath. It's like, okay. Then we have the circle of star. Oh yeah, so the spores. So literally, they have mushrooms growing all over them. It's weird. So here we have this guy. He's got shrooms. Spreading spores. You gain the ability to seed an area with deadly spores. In that fungal body, the fungal spores in your body alter you. You can't be blinded, deafened, frightened, or poisoned. So that's a little scary. Okay, the circle of stars. You turn into a star. You kind of like phasing in and out of planes. It's like planar travel. So we got like a starry form. You can expend the use of your wild shape feature to take on a starry form rather than transforming into a beast. While in your starry form, you retain game statistics, but your body becomes luminous. Your joints glimmer like stars. And then you have 3 constellation things, and isn't that great? Here's another. You can fly. Twinkling constellations. You got. You don't shift in between planes. You become at 14th level. You become partially incorporeal. Isn't that fun? So you have resistance. So it seems like a lot of these things you like it pays off really late. Okay, so yeah, the star form, not extraplanar, but they do have that kind of becoming a star weirdness. Okay, the circle of wildfire. You basically get a fired animal with you, so I don't know if that's why I was singing Wildfire earlier. We'll be riding wildfire. Don't you love that? The level 14 spell is the Blazing Revival. The bond with your wildfire spirit can save you from death. If the spirit is within 120 feet of you while you're reduced to 0 hit points and therefore fall unconscious, that wasn't English, you can cause the spirit to drop to 0 hit points. You gain half of your hit points and immediately rise to your feet. Once use this feature, you can't use that again until you finish a long rest. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Not nice. So that was Druid. Fighter. We have more fighting styles, guys. Fighters. We got the blind fight, intercept. What on earth did I write there? Superior technique. Luckily, I was on that page. That would be a very long Then we got thrown weapons. That's honestly, of everything that's in here, the thrown weaponness and the feet and everything, I like that kind of the most. And then we have unarmed maneuvers. We have ambush, bait and switch, brace, commanding presence, grappling strike, quick toss, another thrown thing. I really like that one. Tactical assessment. And then they have the Psy Warrior, the Rune Knight, and the Battle Master. Um, yeah, so they make the fighter psionic, and they give him runes to make him magical a different way, and then the battle master is the only. It's got a lot more customization. They give you a whole bunch of different things. So like the archer, the bodyguard, the brawler, the duelist, the gladiator, the hoplite, the lancer, the outrider, the pugilist, the shock trooper, the skirmisher, the strategist. And so yeah, that seems to be the coolest thing here. I don't, magic fighting, it kind of a lot of people in like 3.5 didn't like the Book of Nine Swords because of this, but to each his own. Like whoever likes this, but I still drink it for you guys because for some reason that's for you. Okay. So the fighter, yeah, so he's got some cool stuff. The thrown weapon thing, I really like that because I didn't feel like it ever, like javelins, throwing axes, daggers. There's a whole bunch of cool things to throw. I think I'm going to make an NPC villain, kind of build him on a thrown weapon base, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. Yeah, so then we have the monk. The key fueled attack, the way of mercy, the way of astral self. So, monks, everyone has an opinion about monks. I don't really care. I don't. So, they have, the way of mercy, they get, like, masks, and they're, like, healers, doctors, but they punch, I guess. So you have like this plague doctor looking thing, and that's interesting. And then they have the way of the astral self, which is basically like ghost punching. So you basically get arms that come out and punch along with you. Yeah, that's something. Okay, Paladin. What would we do without our friends, the Paladins? We would have fun. That's what we would do. Of course, every time I play with a Paladin, they're like never really a Paladin. They just do whatever they want anyway. The Oath of Glory. This is pretty un-Paladin-like, but I guess with this oath, you basically are full of yourself. Visions of glory. You do all these cool feats of glory, and you're very glorious. So you can, based on heroics and stuff, you get to do some crap. I don't really feel like going into it because it really doesn't interest me that much. But, if you want the oaths of glory, there are glorious things to be done as a paladin. And then we also have the Oath of the Watchers. These are the guys that are planar, basically, marshals. So they are against the extra planar threats. So they want to keep those planar people out of here. And they have some cool stuff for fighting planar beings on other realms. Then we have the Ranger. Oh yeah, I really like the way they did the Ranger too. This was probably one of my other favorite bits they did. So they changed favored enemy to favored foe, which I'll just read aloud. As first level ranger, that replaces the favored enemy feature and works with the foe slayer feature. When you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can call on your mystical bond with nature to mark the target as your favored enemy for 1 minute. So you basically can switch it out depending on the circumstances, which makes it much more handy. You also, I'm at the top of my page, fighting styles. We have blind fighting. These are all 4th level. We can have druidic. And they just come out and say, yeah, it's like a druid. And then you have the thrown weapon, which is new. I really like I really like this area being explored with the thrown weapons. Nature's Veil. That's an interesting thing. A 10th level. It replaces hide in plain sight feature. You draw on the powers of nature to hide yourself from view briefly. As a bonus action, you can magically become invisible along with the equipment and wearing and carrying until the start of your next turn. You can use this feature a number of times, equal to your proficiency bonus, and who cares? Yeah, so that was a neat little feature to the Ranger. And then we have new archetypes. We have the Fey Wanderer, which basically is a whimsical sort of thing. It doesn't really... Basically, they play with fairies, and they call on fairies, and the fairies are all around there, so some more extra planar stuff. And then the Swarm Keepers, really just... They keep a swarm of, like, bees or hornets or birds or bats or whatever, and they can do things with the swarm. The swarm can comically, like, form into hands and pick up stuff and all this weird stuff. Very RP, really weird. There's some spells that go along with it. I could see this being really annoying to play with someone who built a Swarm Keeper build, because it's like, my person's got bees all over them. And then someone would necessarily make a character that was allergic to bees, and then I'd throw them both out. Okay, then we have the Rogue. You rogue! Get out of here, you rogue! Okay, so, first of all, I want to bring your attention to this picture. I have no idea how he's shooting this. The picture looks a little bizarre. So you can see his head looks like he's checking out the side of his gun, though he's looking like he's about to shoot, but it looks like he's looking at the side of his crossbow like this. And it's like, okay. And he's also amid some psychedelic mushrooms. Maybe someone of the Circle of Spores was in the area. So for the Rogue, we have steady aim. So no move. Oh yeah, so steady aim. This is something that really caught my attention. As a bonus action, you can give yourself advantage on your next attack roll in the current turn. You can use this bonus action only if you haven't moved during this turn. So if you stay still, you get. It doesn't say that it has to be a ranged weapon. So I guess you can just get, if you just stand still, you can just get advantage all the time, every turn. Well, not all the time, but at least once a turn. So the Phantom Rogue, that's one of our archetypes. Phantom Rogue, basically, I see dead people, and he talks with them, and they help him out, and give him a high five, and go out for coffee, and go to the bowling alley. I have no idea what that last bit was about. The orange wine is slowly, I think, opening up, getting a little more tolerable. Isn't that lovely how things open up? Open new doors. Yeah, so dead things help you. And then the Soul Knife, which is just, okay, we're just psionics now. You got a soul knife, and the knife appears, and I'm a rogue. Soul knife. I feel like a lot of things were just picked up out of the recycling bin from 3.5, and it was just kind of like shoving it in there. Come on, get in there. All right. Yeah, so Sorcerer. Oh boy, Sorcerer. They have some new spells in here too, but I'm not going to get into them because it's just like whatever. Sorcerer, Aberrant Mind. I wrote alien shit. It also kind of looked like alien slut, but I think I said shit. So alien shit, psionics, more psionics. Psionics is the theme of the book. We have our like mind flayer, and basically like they were beamed up onto a spaceship. Clockwork Souls, a little interesting. So this is kind of like the Modron. Yes, because it is just, this is what, then have little notes from Tasha at the beginning here. I rarely tell people I speak Modron because invariably they just want to learn how to curse. So let's just get this out of the way now. Lesson 1. Beat boop and other slams. Tasha. Thank you, Tasha, for your... Like, I really wonder why they chose this font to be her handwriting. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so they're more order and law and neutrality and who gives a crap. Wasn't too impressed with that. Warlock, though, was somewhat interesting. We're about balance. There's a lot of common themes. Okay, the Warlock. We have the Pact of the Talisman added to it. So they literally got a necklace and they touch it and they're like, ooh, my necklace. So we talk about new patrons, the Fathomless from the Plane of Water. It's an interesting thing. I'm already kind of doing that in my campaign to an extent. One character with an aboleth. We also have the Genie as patrons. More spells, you get a lamp, you get small wish at the end, so it's a limited form of wish, but you get the small wish. And then finally, Weathered. We got some new spells. We got Blade Singing, which is just a fighting wizard. Good one, guys. I guess it had to be done. Order of the Scribes. You get a quill and an awakened book, and you can make scrolls. That's kind of neat where you can make the scrolls. So you can just kind of, but no one else can use them. But you get more spells, basically. So you can, just have an armful of scrolls and go into battle and go, you drop all your scrolls everywhere. Yeah. So that one was a little neat. Not much else to it. I mean, the Blade Singing, I mean, it is what it sounds like. They got a magic blade, and they're freaking. I got a blade, and blade singers master a tradition of wizardry and incorporate swordplay and dance. It's like a whirling dervish, I guess. Who knows? I wasn't too thrilled by it, but who cares what I think, right? Who gives an F? Alright. And then we have some feats. Feats that were interesting. There's some... a lot of... I was like, what the hell did I just write there? A lot of them are just ability and score enhancers. So you either pick your strength or dex, or your wisdom or intelligence, and you bump it by 1. So that's what a lot of these feats do. We have some interesting ones like Chef, where you make stuff and it's good and people get healed by it. The Crusher, where you crush your enemies, and so it's an ability score boost and you basically just like push people. And then the Poisoner, so if you're an alchemist and you take that feat, you get more damage on poisons. So chapter 2, we talk about our group patrons. This is a very interesting chapter, and I think this is where a lot of people will get some use out of this. Because we always talk about how do we start our campaign? How do we get the party together? This talks about the various ways in which you as a DM can bring these disparate peoples together and kind of have a unifying start to your campaign. So just to list the basic categories, we have the Academy, we have an Ancient Being, the Aristocrat. I almost said Aristocat. No, it's not. The Aristocats don't send your party on. The Criminal Guild. Let's just say Criminal Syndicate. Military, religious, or religious institution, or a sovereign power. Your Duke, Baron, or whatever. So the Academy, I'm from the Wizard College of Winterhold, and it's Skyrim. Yeah, it's Skyrim. Okay, guys, it's Skyrim. Go find the Staff of Magnus, you butthead. And then we have the Ancient Being. It's like, you woke me up, you jerk. I'm gonna curse you and all your family if you don't go on this major quest for me. You always imagine an ancient being being asleep, and then the whole reason you're on a quest is because he's annoyed with you. The aristocrats, they have the money, they have political power, they have sway, they can get a ragtag group together. A criminal syndicate organization. Your Thieves Guild. Thieves Guild. Yes, you can have these guys send you on a job. Of course, that kind of forces your players into a box, or maybe something happens where they have something on you, and in order to keep from being murdered, you have to do it. Military, clear as day. You're in the military, and you gotta do something for them because it's your orders. Religious, retrieve the lost relic of who blah blah. And then sovereign, again, kind of in the same vein as aristocrat, but these people have maybe a little more power to hurt you if you don't comply. Yeah, so that was chapter 2. Chapter 3, we talk about magical miscellaneous objects. So we have our different spells. One of them being the Dream of the Blue Veil. So I guess I will go into spell. I mean, after I said I'm not going to. I'll go into the freaking spells, guys. Okay. The Dream of the Blue Veil. You and up to 8 willing creatures within range fall unconscious for the spell's duration, and experience visions of another world on the material plane, such as Orth, Toro, Kern, or Eberron. If the spell, I hope I didn't butcher all those. If the spell reaches its full duration, the visions conclude with each of you encountering and pulling back a mysterious blue curtain. The spell then ends with you mentally and physically transported to the world that was in the visions. To cast the spell, you must have a magic item originated in the world you wish to reach. So this is kind of a fun RP thing. You can send your players to a different world. This is kind of like how to transport from Johto to Kanto or vice versa, rather than like from the material plane to the plane of water or plane of shit or whatever you want to do. And here's another, the Green Flame Blade. It's a green flame blade that does damage. Now, very interesting. So we also have our Lightning Lure, which is a fishing line of lightning. It pulls things in as things. And then literally they have a spell for summoning anything from devils to demons to weird crap, constructs, elementals, and already spirits, celestial spirits, shadows, undead, everything under the frickin' sun. Oh, we also have a lot of tattoos. Hold on. Tasha's Wind Whip. That was another fun spell. Hang on. Tasha's Wind Whip. Tell me about that Wind Whip. Gosh darn it, where's the Wind Whip? Mind Whip. Not Wind Whip. I can't read my own right. Mind Whip. You physically lash out at one creature you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 3d6 psychic damage, and it can't take a reaction until the end of its next turn. Moreover, on the next turn, it must choose whether it gets a move action or bonus action, as it only gets one of the 3. So isn't that fun? So it gives you this interesting little thing. You whip someone's mind, and it kind of gives a good amount of damage, and then they're kind of hindered the next turn. Personalizing spells. This is something they were talking about, where basically they're giving you license to have an imagination. What do you think about that? They give you some themes, some that you can work with. Yeah, so it's literally like use your imagination. Thanks, Wizards of the Coast. Magic items. We have tattoos. Tattoos are all magical. It's basically like the marks from the dragon houses in Eberron. All-purpose tool. It's a screwdriver that does everything. The Cauldron of Rebirth. You can huddle in the cauldron and rebirth stuff. It's kind of weird. It's kind of it's like freaking Voldemort in book 4. Lots of books on everything under the sun. Lyre of Building. It's a lyre that helps you build shit. It's a lyre of building. While holding this lyre, you can cast Mending as an action. You can also play the lyre as a reaction when an object or structure you can see within 300 feet takes damage. Yes, so it just magically heals stuff as when you play the lyre. We also have the mighty servant of Luke O, which is this metal being that two people can climb in and use. That's pretty fun. Let's show a picture of that. So yeah, it's a 2-man. It's like AT whatever the chicken walker is. And then you have the prosthetic limb. They have prosthetic limbs that you can put on, and the teeth of Dalvernar. It's like Cadmus sewing the dragon teeth, and fun stuff pops up when you sew the teeth. Chapter 4, DM Tools. They talk about sidekicks, the 3 categories: the expert, the spellcaster, the warrior. The monster interaction tables, basically a lot of tables you can roll on. What happens when the players come across this group of monsters? Pretty interesting. Environmental hazards. This one's pretty fun. So it's a D100. You roll on the chart 1 through 100. Supernatural, far realm, haunted, infested, mirror zone, psychic, resonance. Those are the different environments you can have. The haunted one's kind of funny. So then we also have the magical phenomenon table, eldritch storms, emotional chaos. That's what it said. Enchanted springs, magic mushrooms, mini mimic colonies, and primal fruit. Primal fruit. And then we have our natural hazards, our avalanches, our falling in water, falling onto a creature, like what happens when you fall onto someone else. They have some explanation for you. Or a spell natural hazard, what happens when the spells kind of go chaotic and are there just in the wild still. And at the end, our puzzles. The puzzles are actually kind of decent. They have though they all kind of rely on the same key. They like the puzzles that are, this letter corresponds to the position of another, or this number corresponds to the position of a letter in a word. So like Bob 2 is O, because O is the second letter in Bob. And literally like 4 of the puzzles in here rely on that. And kind of makes me think that this guy was good. They were rushing. Gotta get this to the editor. Shit. Make up a puzzle. The letters, the numbers correlate to the letters. Okay. Go. Make it a puzzle. So yeah, Tasha's Cauldron of everything. It's actually got a little bit of everything. Not so much creatures. It's more about your subclasses, obviously, things environmentally you can do. It's really trying to empower you to use this as a jumping off point. They say it a lot, I think more so than they do in other books, and they give you a lot of good stuff, though it might be weird. And it's stuff that is very inspiring. Just kind of flipping through, just looking even at the pictures is pretty inspiring, or just rolling on their little tables. It can give you a lot of good things to think about. So yeah, so I definitely recommend a pickup. I prefer looking at a hard book rather than PDF. So I've used PDFs before, and they're okay. You can search easier with a PDF, obviously. Control F and then find Bugbear or whatever you want to find. But yeah, so that was Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. My take, some highlights. Hopefully it was entertaining. If these aren't the highest quality videos, I hope they at least are entertaining to listen to. Don't buy orange wine. You'll regret it. I'll drink one more sip for all you. Alright, guys. See you next time.